gross.
He's a dad. He's got a car.
Is he gonna take his kid?
He didn't take his kid to Evo.
Baby seat?
Are you sure he's even allowed to
Ricky.
go?
For Ricky?
Is he even gonna be allowed to go? Is Sandy gonna let him?
Damn.
I think it's like his birthday weekend or something, so he's allowed to go.
Oh, really?
To a tournament, huh? Are we teaming up for the 3-on-3? ATP Live?
I'm down.
I was thinking we'd go our SBO team, Eris.
Sukin?
Dude,
I want Rick over Sukin.
I want Rick over Sukin too.
Fine. I'm just saying we would have went undefeated again. You know.
I don't know. Rick's been doing pretty well.
Who?
Wait. And you guys didn't even go undefeated. You lost to that team once.
We went undefeated, dude.
What?
You won the tournament, but you still lost the set.
Dude,
We
whatever.
hella won that tournament. Do you remember the fucking orbitals that guy was shooting at me? He was firing orbitals all over the place. That shit was crazy. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday. I'm extra grumpy because it's been a super long day. Time Warner fucked me over again, as usual. I'm joined... My name's Eris, by the way, in case you don't know. I'm joined by Rip and Ricksta. How's it going, guys?
Going decent.
Cool. Yeah, you really blew it with the computer restart there, compadre.
It's because the router, dude. Time Warner, bro.
I know all about that. I know all about that. I'm trying to get a new one. I told them, because they fucked up yesterday, and when I was streaming, it was like super shitty. So then I told them I need a guy to come out and check my shit and tell him to bring a router. So they're supposed to bring me a router tomorrow now. We'll see how it goes.
What brand is your router?
Man, I don't know.
Because I have the Eris browser, and this thing sucks.
Well, you have the Eris browser?
Eris browser?
Yeah. Router. Eris router, and it sucks. I used to have Motorola, and that thing was awesome. And now that I have like the super
what do you mean
fast
Eris
speed,
one? What is
It's
that,
called
a joke?
it's spelled ARRIS.
Oh,
It's
that's
Eris.
pretty sick. It must
yeah,
be top
it's
quality.
ass. Eris is ass. That's all I know for sure.
It's bad
I have that same router, and I don't have nearly as many problems as you do. But then again,
your camera doesn't work half the time either. Now my camera's not working half the time. It's a freaking Eris router, dude.
I don't think it's. Well, all right.
Shut up. Yeah.
Shut up.
No, but I was also gonna say you also have that crazy internet that has like hella upload and download.
Yeah, I have like super speed, and that's the thing. Like they made me get the Eris router because that's the only one supposedly that could support the new speed, and it supports it terribly.
What are your speeds?
200/20.
How much do you pay?
The same as I was paying for 30/5.
How much is that?
I have no idea because it's combined with my cable TV.
Oh man, that really fucking chaps my hide. You know I'm paying $71 a month for 100 down and 5 up. Oh.
What?
it's crazy. That is fucked up. It's the best they have here.
How could they give you only 5 up? That's crazy.
That's the best they have here. I'm buying what they call turbo. Can you believe these sons of bitches?
Wait! Why do you not drop your download speed? Because you only have the same upload. Who cares?
That's not how it works. That's
I mean, wait, but no.
If
But you used to have 30/5 before.
No, I don't think so.
I know you did.
I used to have 50/2, and I upgraded that to 100/5.
Dude,
that's crazy. That's crazy because I have 20/2.
Yeah, it's always been it's been 20/2 and then 30/5, 50/5, 100/5.
Okay, well maybe I'm not remembering the download correctly. That is kind of like me. But either way, I know that 5 is the most upload, and I know that when I got it, upload is what I cared about because that's the most important.
Right.
And that's the maximum I can get from Time Warner in my area, which is fucking bullshit.
I like how the show started.
Well, I mean, that's what's going on.
Yeah, we have nothing else to talk about, so let's just bitch about Time Warner Cable.
I'm down. Fucking for an hour. I don't care. I could do it. I got plenty of insults.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Also, Fios. Fuck Fios. Why isn't that shit in my area yet?
Yeah, not
dude.
fuck
They stopped
Fios.
expanding.
What do you mean they stopped expanding?
Fios. The big thing is they have to go into your street and actually install the fiber optic lines.
Yeah.
And that costs a lot of money, and so they literally have stopped doing that until they can grow their subscriber base to afford doing that again.
Really?
So,
well, you know how you expand your subscriber base is by allowing us to actually subscribe to it.
Yeah, really.
By putting it in my area.
Well, they obviously put it in a place where idiots didn't want it, so now they can't afford to expand it anymore.
Yeah, of course, son of a bitch. All right, whatever. We have a couple things we want to talk about. It's been a little dry. It's been a little stale for the last 2 weeks. Other than strong style information, there really hasn't been much. Since last week Bronson was on the show, there is one thing that he forgot to mention about Strong Style, which I think is very important. So there are a lot of international players coming, and a lot of them are really good. And I think a lot of players who are domestic players maybe are thinking, how the fuck am I going to win Strong Style, right? They're a little disheartened. It makes sense, a lot of players might think that way. But there has been a nice little bonus added to the top placing American player, which will receive a free trip to Kumite in Tennessee, which is another major Tekken tournament. So that is actually pretty cool, especially for a tournament like this with so much international talent. I thought that was a really cool addition, and Bronson forgot to mention and tweeted it, so I thought I'd mention that. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that. Otherwise, I can move on.
No,
that's cool.
cool.
I didn't
Ricky,
know
you
that.
first.
Yeah, you go first, Rick.
Sorry. Yeah, KIT's cool.
All right, Rip.
Damn it! I was I don't remember.
That was my fault. I should have handed it off to someone. I was just on a podcast and there was someone else being the host, and it was quite nice. I got to just sit back, listen to bad jokes the whole time. Why not?
Cool.
Yeah, you know what we should do one of these days? We should let one of you guys host the show. What do you think about
Ricky.
that?
Ricky hosts this one.
Well, I got to put him on top.
Yeah,
It's going to take an hour.
Dude, he can host from the center, dude.
No
Yeah,
way
well,
he can
dude,
host from the center.
This is like the Brady Bunch. I can point up to Eris like this, like Eris. Why don't you answer the question? Rip, like that, dude. Perfect.
All right, you know what? I wish I didn't even bring it up. What were you saying, Rip, about
I was saying that. Oh yeah, for KIT, I didn't realize that it was only American players that were going to qualify for it. I thought,
exactly.
So I mean that is a pretty big deal, because that means, like you said, there's going to be a lot of international players. Like we saw at Evo, I think top 3 were all international there.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy was highest and he got 4th. So America probably not going to get top 3 spot. But we never know. We'll see. And
I think America has a really good chance to make top 3.
Ooh.
okay.
You want to
I don't
take a
know
bet
who.
on that, Ricky? America in or out of top 3?
Yeah, I'll take that bet.
Okay, 5.
Yeah, let's do it.
We have another bet going for Strong Style for Big Dinner, right?
Yeah.
How's that going
What's
for
that?
Not so well. I'm breaking even so far.
you? Okay, more or less, me too. More or less. Anyway,
You want in on this bet, Rip?
What is it?
top 3
Okay.
American in or
Well,
out?
no, not that one. The other one.
No way, dude. Fuck that. Wait a minute. He
Why?
can't win.
I know exactly where this bet's going, and I'll do it the opposite way. I have to do the opposite of what you guys are doing to win.
That's way more easier, though.
Yeah, really.
But no,
You're-
it's not easy for me.
Whatever. I don't even want to fall into this trap. This looks like a fucking trap for sure. Anyway, next topic. And I wanted to remember to say this, but I fucking forgot to say this like for 2 weeks already since Evo. But when we were at the what was it called?
Tekken
The
Casino.
Ogrecade Casino, the Tekken Casino. When we were there, I was on the mic with Harada, as a lot of you guys saw, and the chat was saying, hey, ask him to be on ATP Live. And I did, and he said he would be on ATP Live. So you guys can expect Harada and probably Michael Murray on the show. And you know what, Internet? Let me tell you guys something. I don't know if all of you know about this, but I've been doing podcasts since like 2000, and I don't even know, 10 probably, right? And the first podcast I had with like a really, really important person, no offense to you guys, on the show was Harada and Michael Murray. And, we recorded the podcast. It was really popular. It was by far the most popular podcast that I've ever done. And then after that, I had another podcast. And this podcast was recorded with Daishi Orashima, Harada, and Michael Murray, and I recorded the entire thing, and it actually ended up becoming corrupted. The file was corrupted in Audacity or whatever I was recording with, and it was just a catastrophe. So I actually almost stopped doing podcasts because of that. Because it was just, I was so, like, not only was I pissed, I was embarrassed. These guys, wasted their time and stuff. So this is really a rare opportunity, and I'm really grateful that he agreed to be on the podcast. So I think it's going to be really cool. Now, as for when he's going to be on the podcast, I think it would be way better if we have a lot more to talk about and ask him about, and especially things that he can say. Because at this point, everything that I ask him is going to be like, can't really talk about it, or it's information he's already given. So, when the time's right, you guys can expect that Harada and Michael Murray will be on the podcast, and I very much appreciate that they agreed to do that. That's just one thing I wanted to let you guys know because I forgot about it for the last 2 weeks, and it's such an important piece of information. That's one thing I wanted to cover on the show. What were the other things we were going to talk about?
Hero.
Who?
No, he already talked about that guy. The Tekken's system.
Oh yeah,
mechanics.
bogus journeys. That's one
Okay,
thing that I
well, we
wanted
can
to
talk about that. Whatever. Just ignore what I
Hey,
just
you should
said.
let Ricky host the Harada episode.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. You guys can
That
speak to
sounds
each other in
terrible.
You
your
can
native
speak
tongue.
Japanese with them, dude. Yeah.
So okay, what's his name? Inns and the Gun. He has another name. Hunting Swan. This guy. I think he's from Scotland, or
Europe somewhere, yeah.
I think he's from Scotland. So this guy made an RPG that at first I thought was just another one of those funny videos that people put online of Eris and Rip and whatever, right? And then so I finally got the RPG myself. It's made in RPG Maker, and I started playing it. The first time I played it, I still thought this is going to be a joke, and I don't really have to play it. I thought it was going to actually be like the Wolf Among Us, which I've been playing, where you don't even have to play it. You just watch it and mash a button every now and then you fucking tear arms off. But this RPG that this guy made actually is like a legitimate RPG where you have to strategize and understand the system and conserve items and everything. So I started playing it the second time with like knowing the system, and I watched one of his tutorials, and it really is an impressive, like, fleshed out game, and I was having a lot of fun playing it. So I don't know if you guys are interested, but I put a video up of it on my YouTube channel. You guys should check it out because this guy put a ton of work into it. Rix does in the game. Rip dropped from the call. There's all kinds of cameos from different people. There are enemies that are sunken rats, and it's just really sick, and
Soccer Rats was cool.
Dude, Jimmy J's face.
Jimmy's face is
perfect.
on point. That one was really good.
What about Gagooni's face? That one is perfect too. There are so many really funny little jokes in that, and he put a lot of work into it, and I think it deserves at least a little bit of recognition. I know, Rip, you told me before the show started you didn't want me to spoil anything or spoil anything.
Right, yeah, because I do want to play it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out, especially for you and I. But it seems like a lot of the people in the chat actually got their hands on it, and they're enjoying it too. So, I don't know, where else to go with that other than, I really am enjoying it. It's a cool game. He put a lot of work into it.
I got a small gripe with the game.
What's the problem? What's the matter, girl? Oh, the way you walk?
How that was cool. How is it that I'm on more Bogus Journey episodes than Eris is, and yet I get kicked off the game in like the first 10 minutes?
Well, to be honest with you, maybe you join the party later. Who knows?
I hope I join Bronson's side. If it's wait, is it Bronson?
I don't know. Was that a spoiler?
No spoilers, dude.
No, that's the thing. It's just an assumption because I haven't actually seen anything past what Eris has played.
Yeah, I haven't either. I don't know. And the game, when I downloaded it, the game has its own files. So I could spoil it for myself by looking through the files and seeing all the different names and stuff. So I didn't want to spoil it for myself. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm having a good time. It's kind of inside jokes, a lot of inside jokes. And I think they're really funny to me, Guys got a good sense of humor.
Your win quote. One of your win quotes is really good.
Which
one? Really good.
You better drop some rare shit or something like that.
No, the one where you tell Charles.
Oh yeah, that one's really good too. Charles, did you see that shit? Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I mean, overall, I think it's very entertaining, and I think he deserves a lot of credit because, I wasn't even going to give him that much credit until I realized how much work he put into it. Obviously, it's clearly a substantial amount of effort. So, pretty cool. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, so this has become a deal, right? This has become an ordeal. Tekken 7 has been announced, and I think the most commonly asked questions that I get, and I presume the two of you get these types of questions as well, is, how did you feel about Bound? Do you want it to be in the new game? How do you feel about Rage? Do you want it to be in the new game? Blah, blah, blah. Those kinds of questions, right? And I thought that this would, since we got like literally nothing else to fucking talk about at all, because the scene's been just kind of dry lately, I think this would be an excellent opportunity for us, all three of us, to share what we thought these system mechanics brought to the table and how, if at all, did they hurt the game. And I think we could start at the top. I think Bound is a very popular one. Historically, Tekken did not have anything like that until Tekken 6. That's the first time they ever had it in Tekken 6.0. And actually, that system mechanic was not like invented by Tekken. That the first time I remember seeing it was in Soul Calibur 3. In Soul Calibur 3, characters like Sophitia had combos in which they would launch, they would do a second move that bounds, and then they would get one more free move on the ground. Now, that is basically what you're getting in the bounce system, except there are more, there's more filler in there. But essentially, in a game like Soul Calibur, where you don't have combos, the bounce system was introduced to Calibur 3, at least for some characters, and, they decided to go with it in Tekken 6. Now, at this point, moving forward, what I want to know between you guys, and I'll chime in as well, what do you guys think about what it brings to the table versus what it potentially takes away from the table or how it hurts? What do you think, Rip?
Well, obviously, if they remove bound, then combos going to be shorter. So people who really like longer combos, that's going to be one of the cons for them. But one of my hopes when bound came around was that it was going to lead to more Oki opportunities. But I feel like that never really happened. Same thing with Tag Assault. I felt that way, and I feel like if bound were more useful in that way, like maybe if tech catches existed and you could set up tech catches by using bound or not using bound or doing different things after a bound, then I thought that would have been more interesting use of it. But as is, it's just basically turned into a combo filler. You either save it for the wall or you don't to get more damage at the wall, and that's interesting, but it's not that satisfying for me. I've never been much of a combo guy specifically in Tekken.
When you
I
say
do like.
as is, do you mean as is in Tag 2 or in Tekken 6? Like,
I think in both games.
I think it was okay. Well, go ahead. No, I didn't mean to interrupt, but go
No,
ahead.
no, that was pretty much it. I mean, I've never been much of a combo guy, so for me, Tekken has been more about spacing with punishing and then doing your damage.
Yeah.
Your damage, like with the combo, was interesting to me in Tekken 5 without bound even, just because of the tech catch system. So the fact that you could do your wall carry or you could drop your combo in a specific way just to set up a tech trap that would get you a relaunch or something. That was more interesting to me than just using a bound to get a little bit more damage or to extend your combo distance.
Interesting. I feel like the bounce system did add quite a bit in Tekken 6, but because in Tekken Tag 2, the tag assault system is the way to get max damage, I feel like the bounce system kind of lost its way in this game. And it's like, yeah, it exists in red life combos, and you don't use tag assault when you don't need it, but when you don't use tag assault, you're not doing max damage, so it kind of throws off the equilibrium, as Tasty Steve would say, of the entire concept of hitting a launcher and then extending the launcher. What do you think about it, Ricky?
I kind of feel the same way. To me, in Tekken 6 especially, it just felt kind of pointless, to be honest. Like, I didn't feel like it was necessarily needed for, well, I guess, especially in Tekken 6, when I played Ganryu, like, all it did was force Ganryu to have a really shitty combo, because he had, a terrible bound and he had a terrible bound ender. So he had terrible combos to begin with. So none of it. So it almost bound almost forced me to play, yeah, basically forced me to play a different character because I didn't like the combos Genny was getting versus where Bob. It was much easier to modify the combo and make sure I can put bound in the more whether it be in the open stage or on the wall. But overall, it just felt like a long combo extender that it was fun, but it's not necessary in my opinion. Like it doesn't really set up anything other than it makes it easier for you to finish the combo because now you have time for the character to bounce off the floor and then you can set up whatever ender you want to do. But I never was a fan of it. I don't necessarily hate it, but I don't. I wouldn't like cry if it was taken away either.
Well, okay, to me, when I was observing Tekken 5, it seemed like there were if you wanted to do a wall carry, you had to do dash jabs, unless the character itself had built-in wall carry. And I think one of the things that Bound brought to the table that people forget is they allowed almost every character to have some kind of option to carry to the wall. And that is a balancing feature. It is a system-wide feature.
No. Right off the bat, you're already wrong because Ganryu didn't help him one bit.
Right, but you got to understand, nobody gives a fuck about Ganryu in Tekken 6. He was the most
What are you talking
underused character, and nobody cared. I mean, I'm talking
Okay.
about overall, you know?
Okay,
Like,
so it forced me as a Ganryu main in Tekken 5 to basically switch characters.
mhm.
You know, so it's like to say overall is not fair because
Yeah, I think it's perfectly fair. There are exceptions. There are some characters that were hurt by the bound system, but overall, I think it helped more characters have more options because when you bound them, you have the option to finish your combo with so many things that you could not have finished your combo with if it didn't
Oh, God.
exist.
Oh god.
What does that mean?
Ganryu finished the couple with the same shit.
Yeah, but
It never
Ganryu might as well have
changed.
not even been in that game. He was so bad. He was such a bad character.
I know.
It's an
That's beside the
exception.
point,
It's
though.
an
That's
exception.
bes-
It's literally one of the worst characters in the game. You have to understand that that's an exception, right? You know what exceptions mean?
It means fuck you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
No, all I'm saying though is that yeah, sure, it made some characters better, you know, in terms of wall carry and all that. But I don't know. It's just like
So
big deal.
Wait
you know?
a minute. So you're
was a-
telling me if Bound didn't exist, Ganryu's combos would be better? So you're saying it hurts Ganryu? Because I don't even
No, it
remember his
doesn't.
combos.
No, it honestly wouldn't have changed the damn thing. That's how I feel. It was just a necessary thing to do bound because it existed, you know. But other than that, like if you would have taken it out, Ganu's combo would probably been the same. Maybe a little bit worse, but who cares? It wouldn't have been as shitty as say, you know, Lily's combos or Bob's combos or Law's combos. You know, every other character benefited off of it, but Ganu didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. It's just that is definitely, as far as I can remember, an exception. Even the other bad characters in the game, like Oscar, I mean, at least she got options for wall carry. Like, she could hit with something like down back 4-3 at the end of a combo, which would have been not the best idea in the previous Tekkens. You would have had to fill the combo with that, with something like back 2-4-3. And just in general, it just seems like it gave most characters more options. That is, I'm not saying I'm a huge like supporter of Bound in general. Wow, look at Rip's
Quit
camera.
sucking Bound's dick, dude.
I'm not
Time
really.
the cable, dude.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
know,
that shit.
big time. Rip looks like a fucking block. What the hell is that?
He's a Minecraft character.
No,
dude.
he's
What the hell?
no, he's cell shaded. He looks. Oh, there he goes. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I feel like you know, the bounce system. It is unnecessary. I agree with you. It definitely wasn't necessary, but it did do some things. It did serve some purpose. It gave a little bit more branching out, a little bit more creativity to the combos, and it added wall carry where there wasn't wall carry before. But it seems like both of you guys don't like it and don't want it to return. So the next time you would want it, no bound. Is that what I'm gathering?
Well, I had an idea about it. I was thinking like part of the reason that Bound is a little bit more boring to me. It's like combos take longer. You know, it makes people feel like the combos are a very important part of the game, even though it's important, but it's not as important, I guess, as people may think by just watching the game. But I was thinking like, what if they made Bound like a risk reward situation where it's like you can do a just frame tech roll off of it or something. You know what I mean? That way you go for a Bound, you may be screwing yourself, you know, or not. I don't know if I'm just thinking of that because I've been playing Injustice and Killer Instinct and games where you have an option during a combo.
But that is how you have it in Tag 2. You know, that is kind of the direction they went with. If you're going to use Tag Assault, there is a double-edged sword. You give them rage. You know, I mean, you're saying you would like a concept like that to be introduced to Bound?
Well, it's essentially, I'm essentially, you're saying like a negative aspect. I guess sort of that direction, but I was thinking more along the lines of like a combo breaker, essentially. You know what I mean? You're not breaking the combo, but you're getting yourself out of the combo, you know?
Because they chose to try to extend the combo with a Bound.
Right, exactly.
Reasonable idea. Okay. Well, the other aspect that is really heavily asked about is rage. And what is up with the tennis ball?
I was just trying to fix my camera. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I don't think it's
I
not
think it's just your
blurry.
internet connection.
Doesn't that just look really clear to you?
No.
No.
The ball looks terrible too. It looks like your face. Yellow rip.
Mm.
But yeah, rage is really one of the primary things that people talk about. And so we didn't have anything like that going up until Tekken 6. In Tekken 6, it was introduced. And as a reminder, the way it worked was when you fall into a certain field, like I forget what it was. Was it 10% or something like that?
I think it was less. It might have been 5%.
Yeah, when you fall within the
Oh.
last 5 or 10 or whatever percent of your life bar, you get additional bonus damage whenever you connect with the opponent. And the bonus damage did not apply to throws. Is that correct? That's what I remember.
Yeah.
And then we have a new way that it's been implemented, where you have the double-edged sword. If you do max damage, you give them rage. And I think personally, the rage system in Tekken 6, though again not 100% necessary, I think is a lot better for the overall game than the rage system in Tekken Tag 2. And the reason for that is I always felt like the coolest part of the rage system was the fact that you could avoid it. Unlike something like X Factor, where you can basically bank on that being a factor every single game, I think in Tekken 6, a lot of the time you would kind of, oh, he's got this much left, I'll throw him or I'll launch him and I'll just pass right through the rage part of his life bar and kill him. So you didn't really see rage every time in that game. What do you guys think about the rage system overall in Tekken 6 and in Tag 2? What do you think, Ricky?
I mean, yeah, that was the cool thing about Tekken 6 was the fact that you could avoid it. You know, like if you were able to manage it so that you can get them down to just when they're about to get enraged by one poke, you just throw for the kill.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I guess the only good thing about it was it made comebacks more common. But in the same sense, for me personally, that also is also a con because not only are comebacks more common, which makes it less exciting, but you know, as a player, I don't need to put someone in that position where I should be at an advantage and then, you know, get lightning screwed and then die for it. You know,
Well,
but
I mean, I don't know. I mean, first of all, the comment of comebacks being less exciting, I disagree with that. I think comebacks are the most exciting. I think the Daigo full parry is like the perfect example. Like everyone loves comebacks. Everyone loves
no,
miracles.
no, I'm not saying comebacks are bad. What I'm saying is that they're more common now, and
Yeah,
because they're more
I
common,
see.
you know, it's supply and demand, dude. It's like,
Gotcha.
you know, you see it all the time.
Yeah, it gets less exciting
In
because it
tag,
happens.
I don't, I'm not, I really don't want to talk about the tag two rage because I'm already assuming Tekken 7 is not tag, right?
Solo, yeah.
So I would assume if they brought back rage, it would be in that sense where Tekken 6 versus tag 2 because tag 2's was big harder to manage in terms of like, you know,
Yeah.
what character gets rage. Do you want to, you know, there's so many different options with it already that it's pretty confusing for anybody.
Yeah.
But like just in Tekken 6, I thought it was okay. It was another one of those things like all the system mechanics in Tekken 6 that they introduced, like I felt were kind of unnecessary, just in my opinion.
What do you think, Rip?
I think that in Tekken 6 BR, Rage was not as interesting as it was in Tekken 6.0. I'm pretty
It
sure.
got- for those people who don't remember, it got toned down quite a bit. In Tekken
Yeah.
6.0, the bonus damage that you got from Rage was much higher than in Tekken 6 Bloodline Rebellion, which is probably the game that everyone has played, because Tekken 6.0
Mhm.
was really rare. But
Yeah.
anyway, go on.
No, because I remember there was a video when Kane used to film at Super Arcade in his Super Arcade Box YouTube channel,
Mhm.
and it was me versus Unconquerable, and he had just gotten me in Rage or something with Law, and he had like half life or something. I hit him with back 1-2-2, and it killed him. And I was like, "Holy crap!" It was like stupid damage, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I remember yelling out in excitement at the time, just back when, because it was so dope. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the point of the Rage system. You know,
Mhm.
back then I felt like, and in after that, I mean, it was still there, toned down, and you know, you could control it better. You know, it wasn't going to piss you off as much if you got hit by something like that in a tournament setting. But I don't know, like it wasn't as fun, you know.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because it looks like we're watching a prisoner, dude, like record his last video ever.
from Alcatraz or some shit.
Yeah, the two cameras look so grainy.
Dude, you know, honestly, I think it's Eris's connection to me. I think because I don't think Ricky, do I look terrible to you too?
You look terrible.
That's what he's saying.
All right.
It's Time Warner, dude. We understand.
Yeah, I
Nothing I
mean
can
that's
do
how the
about it.
show started, you dude. Fucking Time Warner. I mean, I kind of feel kind of the same way. I like the idea of comebacks. I think they make the game more exciting. I also think they make the game more viewable, and that's a really important factor. I don't think that you can completely count out the rage in Tekken Tag 2 because, they could always do some kind of combo mechanic in Tekken 7 where it gives the opponent rage if you use it. Like,
Yeah, I can see
what
that.
if Tag Assault still is there except it's a solo game? So you could have a
What?
bound, or you could have a TA where they bounce all the way up in the air, but you give them rage, and that Tag Assault bounce allows you to extend your
Damn,
combo.
Tekken 7 assists?
No, I mean, like
That
you
would be
bounce
sick.
them, high
No,
into
yeah,
the
I
air,
understand
and
what you're saying.
it's possible that they could implement rage in a similar like philosophy in the way they have it in Tag 2, where like Rip said, a risk reward, where if you use the bound, you'll give them something. So I mean, I don't know if that's cool. I don't really love that idea. I've never personally, as a player, I've never really loved the idea of there being too many branches after the initial hit of a launcher. Like, I feel like you hit with the launcher, this is the combo, or you wall carry, or you're going to be someone creative. I mean, those should be the three options to me. But it seems like these days the branches have gotten so out of control that the launcher is literally just the first page of the story of the combo. And there are so many combos that are good and arguably optimal, that it really, to me as a player, it can be daunting, or it can not be daunting, but more like it can be disappointing when I know that there could have been a better combo that I could have done, but I just didn't put it together at that moment. That frustrates me as a player. What do you guys think about this kind of branching off in the combo type of thing? I personally don't like it, but previous Tekkens like 5 and even 6, they kind of had the right combo, the wall carry combo, and then creative combo. What do you guys think about the whole branching system? What do you think, Rip? I'm going to start with you this time.
Like I think there needs to be a certain amount of branching, and I think even with Tekken 5's combo system and DR's combo system, I felt like just because of the scaling system, which still exists, obviously, you had your heavier hits in the front of the combo, and then you did your carry hits or just your ender hits, at the end of it. So that was kind of the branching aspect of it that way. But now the branching is more defined, like launcher, damage, bound, wall carry ender, spike ender. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, yeah. Personally, I'm not a fan of multi-part combo structure. I guess is how do you just define it as branching?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want. Yeah, go ahead.
not as much of a fan. Not as much of a fan as a simpler combo structure.
Yeah, I think most people. I don't know. I think most people would agree. But what do you think, Ricky?
Isn't that the same though? It's just like because from like say 5 to 6, they added an extra branch with bound. Like
Yeah, but
that's
the thing is, you're right about that, because the thing that Bound brought to the table was the opportunity that I was talking about earlier, where you could end a combo with things that you couldn't end it with before because of the Bound system. But the more opportunity you bring to the table, the more branches there are. So you're right in the sense that just the introduction of Bound itself spreads the combo tree into a bigger branch. But then with the addition of Tag Assault really allows you to actually wall carry with so many characters. So the branching in Tag 2 just became just this giant bush, with fucking dingleberries all over it, and it's like, it really was, it became too frustrating for me. Do you guys feel that aspect as well? I mean, it did kind of head in this direction in Tekken 6, but has it gone too far to you guys? What do you think, Ricky?
I don't. Well, I mean, I don't view the combo system that complicatedly. Like, to me, good combo is a good combo, and I'll be doing it most of the time. But I understand, like for newer players, or even for like for me when I try to learn a new team, it's like then it becomes a little bit harder to try to learn the combo and figure out
When
what's
to
the
do
most
it?
optimal combo and how to do. Like right now I'm playing Nina Lars, right?
Hmm.
And like there's times where I'm like thinking to myself, all right, what's the best way to cover this amount of distance to the wall versus this amount of distance.
Yeah,
It's definitely a challenge if you're not used to playing the characters, obviously. So
absolutely.
I could see it. That's what. But to me, it's like if you want to take like everything away from the game like that. I mean, like bound needs take away bound, then take and just Start off from launcher combo.
Yeah, I mean, launcher, filler, ender. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. It seems like they're just reinventing the wheel, right? If they do it that way. I mean, do you guys think that they need something in their combos to spice it up? I mean,
I think if they went back to Tekken 4, where combos weren't even like
oh, yes.
where the combos are basically
No.
launch to down 2-4.
I
That
would
was
like that. I
see
would like
like
that very much.
it makes the combos quick. It makes like the next mind game for the game has to begin immediately, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It depends. I mean, because like I think about it from the Capcom games, you have Street Fighter 4, which doesn't really have long combos, you know, versus
Yeah.
Marvel, which a combo lasts the entire game. So
Yeah.
people love both of them. And it just it depends on what I feel as a player, and I honestly just found Bound to be unnecessary. So I wouldn't mind it going back to like Tekken 5 juggles or even Tekken 4, really.
Yeah, I can get behind the Tekken 4 sentiment. Now, I have to say that obviously I'm biased because I am a Calibur player as well, and at least in my favorite Soul Calibur game, that's the way it worked. It was more about placement of moves and mind games than it was combo damage. And when you did do the launcher, it was like there was almost two options or less, you know, either one option or two options. And that really seemed kind of cool and pure to me. And in Tekken 4, you got a lot of that too, like you mentioned with Marduk. We recently played it when Ricky came by my place. We played Tekken 4, and it was just like there were some characters, you know, Lee has the misstep stuff, and there are some characters that have some longer combos, but that's really kind of the character strengths in that game. And I feel like that was one of the things that Tag Assault, and maybe even Bound to some extent, took away because it gave almost every character, maybe not Ganrai, Ricky, before you start fucking bitching, but it gave almost all characters these wall carry options, which kind of took the luster away from the wall carry characters that had it without Bound. And that is a factor. That is something that it is taking away from the game. And as far as just character design goes, it seems as though as the series has progressed, they've given more and more characters wall carries. I mean, Dragunov is an example. Nina is an example. I mean, these characters now have just wall carries to the moon. You know, Bruce. I mean, these characters are carrying you from basically the middle of any stage to the wall, like right away. I mean, if they land a hop kick at the beginning of the stage, boom, they're going to the wall. And in a way that I kind of don't like that. It does add balance to the game, and I overall like balance, but I also like character individuality. And you know, I've talked about this before, but Seth Killian has written an article about character balance, and in that article, the emphasis is that you know balance isn't necessarily 100% the best, most like primary thing you should look at because you know, and on the podcast we were just talking about it, like on the I Play Winner podcast I was on, they were saying that the thing they don't like about the aesthetics of the game is that everyone looks the same. Now, everyone looks the same because everyone is the same. Every character has their 10 frames, 12 frames, and you know, you control their left hand with one, right hand with two, and it's really kind of homogenous all the way through the cast. While in other games, you hit the fierce punch and you don't even know. They could use their fucking leg or, you know, who knows. And, you know, that's something that I think is a good thing, you know, in a game's design. So in this context, I kind of feel like Bound and Tag Assault and just the inclusion of wall carry in general to combos, not only does it lengthen it and make people kind of not want to watch the long, weird gravity floating thing that goes on in Tekken, but it also kind of takes away from character individuality, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that, Rip?
No, I think that's a good point. I think that Tekken would be more interesting if some characters really suck at juggling. Maybe some characters can only do Tekken 4 juggles,
Right.
and then you've got like Lars who can do the super Tekken Tag 2 combos. You know what I mean? Like that would make the game more interesting to watch because then, you know, whoever has the Tekken 4 combos should obviously have some higher standing damage,
Right.
make up for the lesser combo damage. You know, so it would be more variety to watch, and it would make the game more interesting probably. So I can agree with that.
What do you think, Ricky?
No, that sounds interesting just from that aspect because you know how you when we were talking about Tekken 7 and how Harada said something about maybe there should be characters that are designed specifically for beginners. You know, maybe like those characters would have, you know, a certain combo, you know, type like versus, you know, a more advanced character which maybe has a better combo or worse combo, you know, but they get something better. I mean, it's an interesting concept just because that was always my only gripe with Tekken as a game was just like all the characters are, even though they look different, they're all pretty much the same in a sense, you know. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it.
I mean, that is the primary reason why you see people like Nii or, the top players in Korea and Japan, they can just pick any character and be really, really impressive with them. It's because if you understand the system, you could basically pick up any character. They're all very similar. But the thing that Rip said about, and you also said, Ricky, about how they could make some characters have less combo damage and more standing damage, that sounds like a really great idea to me. I mean, I don't. It, again, is all about implementation, but that is definitely a way to make the character easier. If you do a fucking down 1+2 with Marduk, standing 2, down 2/4, yeah, anyone could do that. Mike Ross could do that, and it would be something.
I don't know. Let's not.
You never know. I mean, he could do that if he tried, I guess. But it's like it's something that it's something to think about. Maybe what if they go as far as that makes me think of what about if some characters have a bound and some don't? And the next thing I think about is in Tekken Resolute, some characters have a bound and some don't. Like Law's forward 4-3 bounds, and let's say King, he doesn't have any bound moves. So that is a direction they kind of are leaning towards, giving some characters the access to bound and some not. Maybe it's something they could do. I don't know. This is one of those things where, it's a possibility. I think it's not a bad idea. But overall, I think we can all agree that the longer the juggle, the less we like it, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's
less branching parts too.
Yeah, less branching parts. I mean, that's just kind of something that, as a Soul Calibur player, I've always appreciated about that game. It's really a test of two minds, and not about who knows the best optimal combo and can get an extra 20 points out of this same launcher. 20 points fucking adds up in the long run, and I don't really like that aspect of the game. I think it should be more about mind games and more about skills, movement, throw breaking. These aspects are really the core of Tekken. They've been around for quite some time now, and they really display skill. And combos, I mean, dude, if you look at combos in Tag 2, it really grosses me out how people who fucking win Evo can drop just everyday combos. The combos just drop. It's really gross. I don't like that. I don't want to see a game where even top players can't do the right shit. That's not cool. In my opinion, for a fighting game. I want to see top players play smooth. I want to see like Daigo full parries. Like smooth combos, smooth execution, because it's not absurd. And I know a lot of people out there will disagree. A lot of people don't think it's absurd in Tag 2, and a lot of people really embrace that kind of branching. And this is really what makes the job at hand in making Tekken 7 so difficult. Because you're going to have the Jimmy J Trans that want the long-ass combos. They want to be able to sit in practice mode and squeeze that extra damage out of the launcher. But then there's going to be people like myself who I don't really want to even think after that launcher hits. I just want to hit the launcher, make my quick decision based on where I was standing in the, in the stage when the launcher hit. Am I close enough for the wall? If not, boom, decision's made. I mean, that's how I would like it to be. I mean, do you guys think this is me being too biased because I'm a Soul Calibur player, or do you think this sentiment can be shared with a lot of Tekken players who are primarily Tekken players alone? What do you think, Ricky?
I think honestly, I don't know. I mean, the Tekken players right now, I would say side more with Jimmy and or anyone that they like the complexity of the game, and they want the game to not be easy. It's almost like an elitist club where it's like oh, look at these these morons outside this circle don't understand how to play my game because they're in feeble minds, whatever, can't handle it, some bullshit like that, right? I was thinking like I would think like back to Tekken 5.0 or even DR back when, to me, in America it was insanely popular. Like and a lot of it had to do with the arcades and the fact that that game was everywhere.
First time Banner Pass.
Yeah, like, and not only that, but it's like players, like Justin Wong and Ricky Ortiz. Even though I'm pretty sure Ricky was a Tekken player at first.
Sanford Kelly, remember?
Sanford Kelly, yeah. All these players that people have, like, will only know them through, Street Fighter. These guys were all great Tekken players at one point, and like, I don't think I think the reason why they dropped Tekken eventually wasn't because like, oh, they found a better game. Tekken 6 came out during kind of the lull of, well, actually no, Tekken 6 came out
Tekken 6 was
after
Street
Street
Fighter
Fighter
4
4, huh?
time. Yeah,
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 okay.
right.
Well,
They came out
that
together.
yeah, so
pretty
that was
much.
a bad time. But Tag 2 came out during the, that kind of dead period, and no one wanted to pick it up. So it's like, I think if Tekken 7 kind of goes the way of Tekken 5 or, DR or 4, I think it can be, good for the growth of the community. But yeah, you're going to hurt the core fans that, want to, be all elitist about it. To me, I want to play the game that has people playing. That's all I care about.
That's what I was gonna get at. You know how you said it's kind of like we're in this elitist club. There's this other club. It's called the Virtual Fighter Club, and that club. They look pretty lonely a lot of the time, and I don't want to be a part of a club like that club. I love Virtual Fighter. I can't wait for the next VF game, and I can't wait to play Wolf. But let's face it. We need to look at a bigger picture here. Bronson on the podcast I was just on was saying it's cool. I don't need competition. I have Jimmy J. Tran. And I'm thinking, what are you, a fucking numbskull? What are you, a shithead? Jimmy J.
tell him
Tran?
that?
Are you, and not only that, I mean, a lot of good it did you. Fucking that Evo, your only competition. Maybe if you had 5 more Jimmy J. Trans, you could have beaten whatever the fuck his name was. What was his name?
The
Jody
black
Wait.
guy.
Yeah, Jody the black guy. I
Yeah.
mean, if maybe if you had a little more competition, maybe if it wasn't just you and Jimmy in your living room, maybe it would be a little bit more robust and you would have a more complete play style. I think competition is very, very important, or else you're going to be. DOA exists too. I mean, you could be playing against California Jared all day if you want, but we don't want to be a part of this club. We don't want Tekken to turn into that. Like it's not there yet, but it's headed there. And if they make the wrong decisions in the next game, I think, the worst could happen. So what they just really need to do is try to appeal to as many people as possible. And since we had hardcore Tekken players who love Tekken 5, I don't see why going back to that, at least that combo system, could hurt. Because we know the hardcores don't mind it, and we know that at least the Sanford Kellys and Justin Wongs don't mind it. So I don't know, it's, again, reinventing the wheel is not a great thing, and I don't really want them to go backwards, but at the same time, they had it right at that point, and they didn't really necessarily need Bound. They didn't, I don't know. It's just my opinion. I
So-
mean,
I
Wait,
think
so what do you
when
guys? Oh, shut up! Hold on. So what do you guys
Go
think
ahead, go
about Tekken Revolution? Then I mean, that is basically Tekken 5 system, except the first hit bound moves are bound, but really
Right.
bound in that game is essentially just a new launcher type.
Right. I mean, more or less. And I personally, I've said it, and I told Harada, if that game had a versus mode, I would like it quite a bit. But due to their business model for that game, there is no versus mode. It's free to play, so you gotta, pay somewhere.
I mean,
go ahead.
no, I was just to say, going along with that, I mean, Comic Con they announced that Tekken, what the hell is it called?
Revolutions.
Revelations.
I don't know what it's called. I thought that's
Well,
what it's called.
TR has 4 million downloads, so
Uh-huh.
it's higher than they were hoping for. I think Harada originally, I remember when he hit 2 million, he was like not happy with it. He was saying, Tekken 3 even had 3 million sales, and that was you had to pay for that one.
Yeah.
So now TR has 4 million. So I mean, that might be a success story for them, and they might just look at that and say like, well, maybe moving bounds not a bad thing, and I think maybe that is what they might be thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with Tekken Resolute as far as the combo system goes. People have gripes with Invincibles and the overdrive random, whatever they're called, moves. But the combo system itself feels quite functional. I mean, I play King in that game, and it feels kind of nice just doing the old school combos where there's no bound. You just do the running Shining Wizard at the end, and it's like, combo completed. Time for wake-ups, It's like,
Yeah.
nice. And it's not like the combos are fucking easy. There may be some of you in the chat room who maybe are new to Tekken 6 at least, and you may think, oh, if they take out Bound or if they take out Tag Assault, the combos will be easy. That is absolutely not the case. Tekken has had expert level combos since Tekken 3. There has been combos that are just really hard to do. Like, even we were playing Tekken 4 and streaming it, and Mateo was telling us combos, and they were like really difficult combos to do, even in Tekken 4. So in a game that has like no combos, you can guarantee that there is going to be like the hard shit, the intermediate shit, and then the newbie shit. And I don't really see anything wrong with that. I mean, the system works. It might be something like they want to add to the game. They want to make it flashier and snazzier and more appealing. So they want to, I don't know, maybe they're going to end up stuffing their combo system with even more garbage. But I mean, the more gravity, the more I like it. That's my opinion. I want more gravity. I want less hits. I want more scaling. When the opponent's feet are not on the ground, I want more scaling. I just think launchers should not be the big pivoter the way they are right now. And in Tekken 6, I felt this way, but I feel like now it's even more so. I mean, I'm watching grand finals of Tekken Tag 2 at EVO, and I'm watching the entire match being like left and right pivoting due to who lands the hop kick or the down forward 2. And though that's cool, and though that does create mind games, it really feels like it takes away more than it adds. That much combo damage and really focusing on hitting with that one move, it really takes away a lot, in my opinion. And again, I may be biased, but this is my style. I would like the game to involve more of what Tekken really is about, which is throw breaks and spacing and movement and block and whiff punishment and delay catch. All that kind of stuff is really what Tekken is about. The rest is like, okay, in Tekken 6 they added bound. Tekken Tag 2, they added Attack Assault. We're kind of all going along with the ride. We don't even really give a fuck because we like Tekken. We like the rest of it. So, I don't know. This is one of those things where I feel like even my judgment may be biased, but
Right.
my personal opinion is that the shorter the combo, the better. And I don't like launchers being that valuable. Do you guys have anything to say about that? The concept of the launcher itself being very valuable? What do you think, Rip? You got something on your mind?
No, yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I think launches should have some value because if I can outspace you just a little bit so I can hit my hop kick or my down forward 2 on you, then I deserve a bigger payoff than just punishing you with my like 14 frame punisher that's a knockdown or something. You know what I mean? So I think launchers do deserve to have more value, obviously.
Well, I mean, that's clear. I mean,
Right.
the goal, even in Soul Calibur, is to hit with the launcher and then get Okizemi. But the difference to me is the launcher's reward should be more about what comes after the combo than what the actual combo itself does. Because the combo itself, I think, is cool, and I like the idea of combos and whatever, that's cool, but I think the reward should be what comes after it, the situation that you can put yourself in because the launcher hit. That's your big reward. And that's the big reason why I fucking got pissed about Injustice 1.04. I mean, that was the reason, Finding Nemo, man. They made it so any old Godspeed or any old fucking guy could just be in a clutch situation and get hit and be relieved. Woo! Now I'm on the ground and I have all my invincible moves. That is just totally upside down. And it's like, again, I'm biased. This is what I think. I think that the launcher should give you the reward in the Okizemi and not in this ridiculous damage that's out of control. But again, that's just my theory. Anyway, Rip, you continue.
No, yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like you're just more interested in the damage of the launcher because even if you do a longer combo, doesn't mean you can't end it in some way to set up your Oki.
Right. I mean, it's just the reward at this juncture, I feel, is way too high.
Right.
You get the Okizemi and you get 60% half the time. And if sometimes the Okizemi is in a really fucked up situation too, like you're already at the wall and you're fucked. And your one option is a tag crash, but they already know that that's your option, and they do some really nice like option select situation where if you tag crash, it's a bait, and if you don't tag crash, they still have wall Okizemi. So I mean, that's really brutal. I mean, it's almost hard to, for me at least, it's almost hard to swallow that a move that low crushes, sometimes high crushes, and does 60% gives you this kind of reward at the very end of that crazy damaging tale that it just told. It's just a little bit too much for me. That's just my personal opinion on combos in general. Ricky, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm just surprised because that's how the main, like, I quit playing Tekken 6.0 after a while because that's how the game was. The game was basically if your launcher was good, spam it, and if you hit it, you win. Basically, if you hit it twice in one round, you'll win that round, and you just keep doing it over and over.
Can you think of a launcher that was so good that you spam it?
In
Jack,
Tekken
the
in
down
6.0.
1+2.
Well, there were some launches that were the high risk, but a super high reward, like Lily's Matterhorn. You sidestep, or you didn't have to do Matterhorn. You had to do sidestep, whatever
That's
the
a
other
one
move
plus
was.
two, I think it was.
Yeah, and if
Oh,
it's
yeah.
stunned, you get a free Matterhorn, and then in that certain stage that's really small, you get a combo that does 95% damage, and so they're not enraged.
No, and I remember Jack had a combo off of his, I think it's down 1+2, where he like ducks down, he like swings both hands up.
Hmm.
I think if you hit that at the start of the round, he would get you to a wall, and then same thing, you'd either be dead or it'd be like 90% or something.
Yeah, I mean, remember Brian? I remember when I used to play against Mr. Naps, and this was at a time when I saw my name next to Mr. Naps in the bracket, I thought I am about to fucking pull this guy's hair out. I'm gonna fuck him up. You know, I was confident at this time, and you know, when I would play against him, I would pray for an infinite stage. I would pray because Brian, as soon as he touches you, he's gonna fuck you up. He's gonna take you to the wall, and he's gonna put his fucking knee in your ass. You know, and in that game, the taunt was brutal. So, and someone like Jimmy, who was so skilled with it, it was just like, I'm praying at the stage select, you know? And that was like it was a unique thing. This is one of those cases where I think balance is a good thing. And though Tekken 6 it wasn't as balanced as Tag 2, not nearly. But though it wasn't, it still retained that mix of the broken shit that some characters had, but it still was pretty balanced. Every character had their punishes and their damage, and it was pretty balanced overall.
We're talking about BR, right? Not 6.0.
Yeah. 6.0, I don't know if the internet knows, but I quit that shit. As soon as Tensai-kun beat me with fucking
Zafina wall standing too. That was a good launcher to spam all day.
The first big tournament that we had was at Super Arcade, and that was when 6.0 was out, and I got second to Tensai-kun, and the reason I didn't like it was because of the amount of damage you got off of, like Ricky said, the spammable launchers. Do you remember Bob's down forward 2 in 6.0?
Oh,
It used to launch on normal hit launcher, and it was safe on block.
That shit was super cheap.
The only downside to Bob's down forward 2 in Tekken 6.0 was that it didn't launch crouchers. Wham, wham, wham. Safe down forward 2, and you know what's even more fucked up? It was his primary tracking tool to that side. So your primary tracking tool is a safe fucking launcher? That's what I'm talking about. This kind of shit needs to not be in Tekken.
Log down forward 2 was good too.
Yeah, spammable, like, safe launchers that are really going to produce a shitload of damage is not what I like, you know? And that's why I like Bloodline Rebellion. When I came back after 6.0 was really shitty and I didn't play it, Bloodline Rebellion, it seemed like they evened things out, you know? Things weren't ridiculous like that anymore. Even Dragunov's Running 2 was no longer a normal hit launcher. These are things that damaged my character, but I still liked them because they made more sense. It was like more fair, you know? I mean, this is just something that I personally feel should be in Tekken. Now, whether they do it or not, I don't know.
Let me bring this up. From Comic-Con this past weekend, they had a QA session at the end of the panel, and someone asked, why did Tekken Tag 2 have the lowest attendance at EVO? Mm-hmm. And the response to that was that Tekken Tag 2 has a very hardcore audience because of the game mechanics. They said the hardcore audience really enjoys it, yada, yada. And then they said that what they think they're missing is the intermediate audience, and that they think, and that intermediate audience is something that they have in mind while developing Tekken 7. And they all said that they're trying to make it easier for people to get into the series brand new, as well as return from past installments. So it sounds like, you know, going back to past installments. When I think past installments, I think like Tekken 3, Tekken 5. I don't think so much Tekken 4. But I think that's an indication that maybe Bound is possibly slipping away. But yeah, I mean, just the thought that they're trying to get intermediate players in while developing Tekken 7, and the game mechanics in particular is what they're focusing on for that, is just, you know, it's interesting to consider where they might go with that.
Yeah, that's really interesting to point out intermediate versus like beginners.
Right.
And I think that's actually much better, because in my opinion, I think that's what to me, that's like the core. Intermediate players is what makes up the majority of those Capcom games. Yeah. Like none of those players are, you know, like you only have a small percentage of top tier players,
Mhm.
then you have a shitload of intermediates, and then
Yeah.
a good handful of beginners, right? But the beginners, know where they are. But the intermediates are huge, and I think in Tekken, like at Wednesday Night Fights, how many intermediate players do we have versus players that we look at the bracket and they're like, all right, this guy can win the tournament, this guy can win the tournament, this guy can win the tournament. It doesn't feel like there's like anyone in the intermediate that are like, well, this guy could do well, he might win, he might not. You have a very like a limited amount of those.
I feel like everyone is intermediate at Wednesday Night Fights. I
Well,
feel like
okay, well-
any fucking one of them could win Tekken Tag 2, and I think that's not their fault. I think it's Tekken Tag 2's fault. I think
no, I think you're talking about intermediate in skills.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Well, I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
No, I was thinking more like intermediate in terms of just like how much they actually care about the game, even.
Well, you do have a point. Underneath all that retarded shit you said, there is a point, and that is that
I'm glad you noticed.
what you mean. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is the
You're
player who's willing, the player who's willing to go and look at moves and look at videos and understand that this is a competition. It's not just me and my sister. It's not just me and a drinking game at my buddy's party. It's like, I understand tournaments exist. I'd like to do well. That's like an intermediate player. And I think that scene is a really important aspect, definitely, for them to snatch up with their new ideas. What are your thoughts, Rip?
I'm not even sure. Well,
Don't read the chat, dude. It's against the rules.
Damn it. Yeah, that's exactly what I did there.
I know.
What was your point?
I can even see it through that shitty ass quality camera you got. What are you eating right now?
A credit card?
What the hell? Anyway, I don't even remember what we were talking about. Intermediate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the whole intermediate concept. I don't know. I mean, yeah, Tekken Tag 2 has, I feel, turned a lot of who I would have considered to be top level players into intermediate players because of the system. I mean, I would have considered you, Rip, a top level player in Tekken 6. I mean, you placed at Evo multiple times. You had really good showings at multiple tournaments. But, the game has forced you into this point where
I don't know.
Well, go ahead,
No,
go ahead. I think, let me finish my observation.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like Tekken Tag 2 has put you in a situation where you can't really utilize the same skills that you used in 6 and get as far as you could. There are more skills that you need to apply to succeed. What do you think?
Sure. No, I can agree with that. And then part of it is that I'm lazy, though. I mean, like, I feel like, I didn't try as hard to excel in this game. I mean, I played it a lot, and but not having an offline scene is going to hurt me regardless. And so, yeah, I mean, overall, in terms of like all of America now, I would say I'm an intermediate player compared to America's like top players, right?
Right.
But I think when Harada, Michael Murray were talking about intermediate players, I think closer to what Ricky was thinking, I'm thinking, which is more like back when I started playing Tekken 5 competitively. I was a noob, but at the same time, you could have considered me an intermediate player because I wasn't like a total scrub who didn't even know what buttons I was hitting. I consider an intermediate player. Someone who's trying to learn, but they're nowhere near ready to win a tournament yet.
That's totally the key word: trying to learn. Newbie, shitty players, they're not trying to get better. They don't think about what they're doing. They just do it. Intermediate. You step into the intermediate category when you understand the concepts at hand, and when you fuck them up, you try and solve the problems. You're automatically intermediate in my book. But the intermediate pool, as Ricky said, in Tekken Tag 2 is just huge. It's giant, and I feel like I'm an intermediate player in Tag 2. I just feel like it's pushed me. And when you say it's laziness, what compels that? What makes you feel lazy? Perhaps it's the chore aspects that have existed in Tekken forever, but maybe feel a little daunting in Tag 2. That's at least how I feel. The laziness comes when you think, well, fuck, I gotta learn how to beat bears now. And then after that, the next character that fucks me over that I played against that I didn't know how to beat. There's a lot of that. I think that's where the laziness stems. And I'm sure a lot of quote unquote top level American players, they can. I mean, even people like Fab, like there is a reason why they are not putting in that extra 100%. What it is up to them to answer. But for me, I feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. When I was playing Tekken 6, I felt like, I could beat the best in the US. I could beat them, and I could see myself doing it. And that feeling, it doesn't feel like it's there in Tag 2 for me. What do you guys think about that concept presented? Rip, you were just talking about it. I'll ask you first.
I can sort of agree with that. I think, I don't know. I feel like my laziness is literally because of the offline scene. Like not having, like, I mean, I see Forrest in chat saying like, Super Arcade is one of the last places in North America with an arcade scene, and we're complaining about not having an offline scene. But Tag 2, we never had an arcade.
Yeah,
at
Super Arcade, as far as the Tekken player goes, it's not an arcade.
Right. And also, like, even though we had it around one, like, it was the arcade version, which came out after the console release, missing the DLC character. So it felt like we got an older version of the game after the newer version of the game just came out.
Mm-hmm.
So, arcade, it didn't really work for me in this game. And prior to that, for Tekken 6 and Tekken 5, we had an arcade scene. We had an arcade machine. We had all the players in our scene would go there, and you would have to play. You'd be able to watch people. You'd say like, "Damn, this fool's on a 10 win streak. Who the hell's going to stop him? What's he doing? How do we stop that?" You know what I mean? So now it's like, oh, I'm just playing online. I lost a random bum dude, and now I'm going to play other random bum dude. And the internet's not helping me decide whether I'm losing because of me or because of the internet or whatever. And obviously Tag 2's internet was awesome compared to previous Tekken games. So I'm not even faulting the netcode or anything. I'm just saying, obviously the internet's not going to help you compared to offline. We already know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at your internet.
Yeah,
Dude.
really. Look at it.
Dude, and by the way, I already ran a speed test a while ago, and my speed is flawless right now. It's
You
still
should have
220
seen the
by
bullshit
20.
I was going through the other day when I was trying to stream. My Twitter was barfing all over the place because my stream kept going up and down over and over again.
You're just frame Jamie's that Twitter, dude.
I mean, I broke the rule and I glanced at the chat and reality was saying it doesn't count if you play Tekken 6 way more than you play Tekken Tag 2. And, that goes right back to the why don't I play Tekken Tag 2 more? And the thing is, what Rip said is definitely a factor, but there are many things at play here. The improvement of online, which draws people away from offline because it's right there. It's right at your fingertips all the time. And though the quality is less, it seems as though it's good enough for most people. And, just that whole idea is definitely a factor. And then there's the factor of the game being just very full of things to learn. And, there comes a point where you don't really want to learn anymore. You just want to play. You just want to execute, And I can honestly say the thing that makes, like, Soul Calibur 2 for me right now so much fun is because I'm not really learning as much as I don't really have to learn. I can just play. I could sit down and do something that I know how to do, just like the way people do something like play basketball or chess. You know the rules and you just do it. You have fun doing it. This type of thing is something that I think fighting games should strive for. And I think Tekken Tag 2, the learning never ends here. It's like endless amounts of learning need to happen in that game. And some people just aren't ready to do that. They're not ready to put that much time in to do the necessary amount of work needed to even appreciate the game. And to me, that's a flaw in the game's design. That's not a flaw in the player. That's a flaw in the game's design. And I don't know. What are your thoughts on that argument, Ricky? What do you think?
I mean, I kind of agree with that. Like, you've said this right from the beginning, too. Like, you've always said that there's a flaw in the game design, in the sense where no one's playing it and that kind of situation. Because, for me, like, I don't know. Like, I know you guys both like Tekken 6 more so than Tag 2, and I'm the opposite. I like Tag 2 a lot more, but I think it's because, it's different mindsets, Like, I don't mind learning, about the game, even though I don't learn much because I don't really try to. When I do learn something, I'm like, cool, and I actually don't mind doing it as much. But
I mean, dude, first of all, let me call your bullshit because you are one of those guys that's like, fuck you, I don't care. I don't care. You're like one of those I don't care kind of guys when it comes to learning, you know? Uh,
That's what you think.
You haven't learned Dragonov yet, dude.
That's what you think.
Shut up.
oh, shit, secret characters?
I think I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I bet you do. Um, and the other thing is, learning is not a bad thing. Maybe I made it seem like I don't like learning. I just think that there should be a point in a game where you've learned it and it didn't take you a fucking lifetime, or being completely unemployed and like just spending all your time 100% on learning. There's it's kind of like one of those things where you learn something and now you go execute it and you try it out and then you take it back and you tinker with it and then you try it out again. That type of thing is great. That's one of the things I've loved about fighting games since the beginning. I've always loved practice mode because I feel like that is where you can figure out what your arsenal is and then take it to the front lines and fucking fire away. Like, this is what I got. This is what I've learned. But to me, when I turn on practice mode in Tag 2, I can never learn anything. It's just there's so much to learn that you end up getting stuck on one thing and you don't end up learning much at all. I think it's the vast amount of things to learn that hinders the learning process in itself. That's what my view is on it. But learning is a great thing. I didn't want to get that point across that I don't like the idea of learning fighting games. I just want it to be like there is an end. There is a point where you can learn everything. What do you think, Rip?
Yeah. I mean, dude, the chat is there's a lot of people frustrating me right now in the chat room, and there's so many arguments I want to have with them. But going
Well,
back to
pick some. I mean, you're reading the chat. Maybe there are valid arguments.
they're not.
That's why I don't read it. I mean, usually
Yeah.
they're not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, there's a lot to learn in this game, and it's. I mean, a lot of people in the chat they're misunderstanding. Like they think that number of games played online is your learning time, etc. And yeah, you can learn a lot from online, but other people are mistaking me, saying like, oh well, I should focus on not on just beating one person in my scene. I'm like, but no, that doesn't help me get better at the game. You know what I mean? Like I can focus on to beat one person anytime I want. You know what I mean? Like that's not as difficult as learning the game. So it's a different type of learning, and I'm probably not explaining that very well, but I think I agree with yours.
The thing is, having a broad pool of competition is, no matter who you are, I mean, if you try arguing this shit, you're a moron. Having a broader pool of competition at your fingertips is just the most valuable. And if that competition is offline, it even more, like, it just further infuses these things that you learn. And the reason why the best players that you see now these days, the reason they are all more or less arcade players is because the arcade bred competition because they were there. Now, I'm not saying arcade is necessary to produce a top level player. I'm just saying that is the explanation, because when you're in a room and you put your hard earned money into this machine to play against the guy that's sitting right next to you, you're gonna want to win. I mean, that's it. You can't just rage quit and fucking go get some Cheetos and be like, oh, whatever, fuck that game, and I'll just get back to it tomorrow. That doesn't work.
You could hella do that in the arcade, by the way.
No,
right, but
but you have a face, and everyone could call you a bitch.
Exactly.
Right there.
Exactly.
Not that, like for me, I would be like, I really want those Cheetos, but I really want to get back on and beat this fool, so I'm not even gonna buy the Cheetos because I need to spend my money to beat this fool.
Exactly. Or not even spend the money. I remember there were times when we'd have a session at the arcade and I wouldn't even eat. I'd forget about eating. I'd just go get a Reese's because I didn't give a fuck about, eating. I'm over here playing. I can't wait. I can't miss my next turn in line. That's it. That's what life was all about. Your turn. You put your coin up and it's your turn. And then you remember, Cynic wouldn't get off the machine and the whole fucking crowd gets all riled up. It's because your turn is so valuable. And the reason your turn's valuable is because this is your chance to get better, And online definitely does not give you that. Online, there is no turn. It's always your turn online. Always your turn. And that's not the best way to get better. I mean, obviously online can help you learn, duh. But To me, the type of learning that it helps you learn is, oh, wow, I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing against bears. Maybe I'll go offline and learn how to beat them. That's not really learning. That's just showing you that you don't know shit, which, I mean, you could have done that at the arcade, too. It's not better or anything. It's just
Right.
there, you know? It's just a way, a supplement, whatever.
You know what I was actually just thinking a second ago? I was wondering, like, you know, we didn't have a Tekken Tag 2 arcade scene. We just covered that. And Tekken Tag 2 online was really good, you know, compared to Tekken 6's. What if Tekken Tag 2's online was terrible, like Tekken 6's or worse even? You know what I mean? Like, how fast would this game have died? You know, like I'd never really considered that because it was so decent that we could play it online and stream it, etc. But man, it really saved this game to last as long as it has.
Yeah, I can agree with that. If online was as bad as T6, what does that mean? I mean, what am I going to have to do? Invite people over and shit all the time? No way, Jose. You know, that's not going to happen. So
it would be Virtua Fighter.
Yeah, we'd be playing something else. Yeah, that's a good point. Online, kind of in a way, did save the game. If any kind of saving it could have done, you know? I mean, these people in the chat who are making the argument, they have to make that argument because that's all they have. You know? Duh. Yeah, you have to make that argument. That's all you got. It makes sense. That's all I got, too. I don't go to the arcade. I don't even have any drive to, you know? I mean, it's all I got, too. Of course, I'm going to say, yeah, you can learn from online because, I mean, what else is there? But it really is not the optimal way to do it. And, you know, that's just how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, so that's a lot of shit. I've done a lot of talking. My throat is getting raw. This is the second podcast in one day, and I streamed that Wolf game earlier. So I think we should start thinking about who our bitch callings are. What are your thoughts?
I was going to say one more thing.
Sure, go ahead.
Concerning anything. I almost... If I'm gonna compare Tag, you know what? Tag 2 to me is like it's gonna be looked back on as like Third Strike, and the reason why I say that is because there's a ton of players right now that I think that played Third Strike that were top players. You've never even seen them play Street Fighter 4 because of the same reasons why we think Tekken 7 will be good. By dumbing it down and all that kind of shit. Like you don't see Pyro Lee or 5-star, any of these dope ass Third Strike players because they never liked the appeal of that game, and you're gonna lose that audience. But I think, as someone that just likes the Tekken series and is open-minded to playing a lot of fighting games, I think it's better for the scene, just for Tekken in general. If you say, fuck Pyro Lee, give me the 50 online Tonys.
Right? Yeah,
I'll take them over that one Pyro Lee any day.
I agree. I totally agree with you. I mean, it's a small price to pay. You got to break some oranges to make some lemonade. This is how it's been forever, and I think it's not a bad way to look at it. I agree. I totally agree. I think that this is. I noticed Subtle saying this is not the type of dialogue I want to hear before Strong Style, and in a sense, I understand that sentiment. But really, this is us caring about the series. We want it to prosper. And regardless, Strong Style is going to be huge. We're all going. We were just before the show talking about how are we going to get there. And my excitement level for that tournament is higher than at any other tournament I've been to in a long, long time. Rip's gone. Stupid Time Warner. But, Strong Style is going to be an incredible event. And the game itself, regardless of the complaints we have about it, these are positive complaints. We want the game to prosper. And these are just positive criticisms. I think that the people who are taking away negativity from this, you're seeing it all wrong. All of us here love Tekken. You should know that already. I mean, you should already know that. We love Tekken. And, I mean, we're going to play it. We're going to play it no matter what. Even if I fucking hate playing it online, I keep doing it. I keep putting a gun in my fucking mouth and pulling the trigger every time. It's going to happen. We love Tekken. And we just want to see good things happen to it. We want to see more people. We want to see more than 506 people in the chat. We want to see thousands because everyone loves Tekken and wants to hear about it and talk about it. And that can happen in the future. It's all in the hands of the developers, and it's a task, and I've said it many, many times, it's a task that they definitely can do. It's doable. We just have to look forward into the future. There are a lot of good signs for Tekken 7. Really, really looking forward to seeing what they do with the Unreal Engine, the concepts of it being on PC, the ideas of it being perhaps easier with a few of the characters. Who knows? The sky is the limit, and this is precisely the reason why I thought it would be perfect to wait to get more information to have Harada on the show. But I really wanted to get that point across because I don't want everyone thinking that this is all hate, hate, hate. We
Right.
love Tekken. 3 loves, So it's just a matter of we want the best for the series, and that's really what the truth is. So anyway, all that being said and done, before we go, everybody check out Strong Style. The button's right there, avoidingthepuddle.com. Click that link, go to the registration page, and you can register. Be there or be fucking lame. You have to be there. If you can make it, be there. People are coming from Europe. People are coming from Taiwan. I mean, if you're nearby, if you're in California and you love Tekken and you don't go to Strong Style, this is a preemptive bitch calling. You're a bitch. Big time. I mean, Californians, Nevadans, anything around there, fucking all you clowns from the weird places, Oregon and all that shit,
Iowans.
but better fucking be there. You better be there. It's gonna be one for the record books. So if we don't have anything to talk about pertaining to Strong Style, would you like to call bitches?
Well, you're just going on the strong style thing.
Go ahead.
At Comic Con 2, one of the QA questions was, will Tekken 7 have a location test? And they said that it's something that they want to do, but it's difficult because of yada yada, whatever BS,
Yeah.
and they can't confirm anything, blah, 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 but they're trying to make it happen. They want to make something like that happen if they can. They said arcades are difficult to work with. Bronson's been telling people to go to Strong Style whenever people talk about Tekken 7. And also Michael Murray on Twitter, I said, hey, nice seeing you guys at Comic-Con, whatever. And he was like, cool, maybe see you at Strong Style. And I was like, okay. So to me, I feel like something Tekken 7 related is happening at Strong Style. So if you guys are really not going to Strong Style and you're into Tekken 7, you're going to miss out on something.
And it's not going to be streamed. So whatever it is, you're really going to miss out on it.
Oh man, if they show gameplay and only the people that were there got to see
dude,
it.
Tekken Zaibatsu's going to light up all the details and shit. I don't know. I doubt it. At this point, because they didn't show gameplay at Comic-Con, I now have refined my prediction and think it might be a while before we see gameplay. But that may be totally false, and maybe they are going to show gameplay at Strong Style. You never know. It's a possibility. Go ahead, Rick.
No, I was thinking in the trailer that they've shown multiple times, with Kazuya and Heihachi with the volcano part exploding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if that's not in-game graphics. It's.
I think they already talked about the director and the team involved in the CG movies. He was a guest on the panel or something.
Right.
And he's the same guy that made the the other one, Tekken Hybrid movie, whatever it was called. So I don't know. My guess would be that that's not in game. I highly doubt that.
Because we'll see.
Yeah, definitely it could be. Definitely it could be. You never know. But either way, this is something that I think everyone is really excited about. I know Jimmy J. Tran says he'll play Tekken Tag 2 for the next 10 years, but you're going to be, yeah, really. You and Bronson are just going to be standing 69ing for all eternity. Come on. I want to play against other people, so I'm really amped up. I don't have anything else to say about that.
I don't know. NorCal has a bunch of hipsters, dude. They like playing those games that no one else plays anymore.
CVS 2
they can play with
shit.
Yeah, they kept CVS 2 alive forever.
Yeah. They don't like to let go over there in NorCal, so I don't know. We'll see. Either way, Strong Style is going to be an incredible event. That is one thing that we don't even have to discuss. That is a fact. It's going to be one for the record books. And I can't wait. I've already got my plans situated. Room is under control. Car is under control. I'm basically there already. So
I have none of those things under control.
Well,
Me too.
I'm on it. I'm super amped up about Strong Style. So
hey, Rip got a mouth.
Oh yeah,
what?
there it is.
My back?
Yeah, your mouth is back.
Yo, my mouth is back.
Yeah.
No, but Ricky, I was thinking, dude, we're in the trailers. We haven't figured out our ride or anything. we're on top of things, dude.
Yeah.
I haven't registered yet, so.
I asked Bronson, since I'm in the trailer, do I have to register? And he's like, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Bitch.
If you don't have to register, I sure as shit
not
don't.
yeah,
seriously. Come on. You were on the third trailer. I was on trailer 1. So give me a break.
Yeah, but you were the last person they showed.
On trailer 1, though.
Yeah, I guess.
Second string.
Well, I'll take it. Anyway, okay. So, Strong Style, Harada coming on the show, bogus journeys, fucking everything else we talked about. Are you guys ready to call bitches? It's so late. My throat. It's
I know you've been
hoarse.
Damn, it's 10 p.m.
I know.
I'm so effed.
Okay, I'll go first. My bitch
What?
calling.
Oh, you gotta go last, dude.
Okay, fine.
No, yeah, so I'll go first. My bitch calling is Eris. Because these routers suck. Dude, I mean, Motorola owns this, dude.
All
for
right,
sure.
bait and switch, huh? All right, go ahead.
Mhm. And my second bitch calling is, of course, Time Warner, because why the hell is my camera good now? That makes no freaking sense. I didn't change
Your
anything.
camera's shitty now. You
Yeah,
have
it's
no
back.
mouth again.
It's back
Well,
to shitty.
You're losing your eyes too.
That's a double call on Time Warner then, because who knows? I mean, it's either Time Warner or Eris or both. I'm not even sure. My final bitch calling for this week is people who are important enough for me not to call them a bitch by name. Those guys are bitches.
Wow,
Ah, okay.
what a pussy.
They're important though.
Hey! Eventually, this one might come out. So I'm gonna give this guy a second, maybe a third or fourth. No, I've already given him 2 chances. I'm gonna give him a third, fourth, and fifth chance, and then
Wow.
I'm gonna call him by name.
You know what? You're not. You're right. You're not a pussy. Third, fourth, and fifth chance? Yeah. You
Yeah.
know what? You really
Oh, yeah.
defended that insult. Not a
Yeah.
pussy. Okay.
Boom.
What does that mean? DDP yoga?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, Ricky, you're up.
My bitch calling isn't even a person. It's a place. It's fucking Food for Less parking lot. The reason why is
Okay.
so coming home from work, right? I exit the freeway and I it's traffic. So I'm stopped in front of this parking lot, the Food for Less parking lot. And so, I'm standing there normally. I can't move. I can't do anything. I look to my right and there's a shopping cart coming at my car, coming at least like 15 miles per hour, right? It's heading
15 miles per hour?
Dude,
Fast.
it
That's
was
really
someone,
fast for a
I feel-
shopping cart, dude.
I feel like someone threw that shit, man. And so I'm like watching it, and I'm like, oh fuck, right? And it's like I can't get out of the car and stop it.
Asian drivers, that's your decision-making skills? You're in a car already. You're going to get out and stop it, move the car.
I'm in traffic, dumbass. Cars in front of me, cars behind me. I can't move.
Okay.
Do you understand what traffic means?
Okay.
You understand what that
Go
means?
on,
It
go
means
on.
it means you're stuck and you can't move. Get it?
Okay.
Okay, got it. Good.
Gan
So
Ryu.
I'm,
Okay, Gan
I'm,
Ryu.
I'm looking. I'm looking at the cart coming at just at my car, and I'm like, "Fuck!" And I would be super pissed if it made like a huge dent, but I made a huge dent on the side of my car a couple weeks ago, so it's like there's only a tiny dent now because of
Further
that car.
pushed it in.
No, I mean it's the same thing. It still looks like it looks like it got fucked up, but that cart sucked, dude. Especially because I'm watching it in slow motion, and it's like I can't do anything to stop it. It's like it's tragic.
I feel like if a shopping cart went 15 miles per hour, it would just like flip over. Like it's just going. The wheels are not meant to spin that fast. That's really fast.
It was good. No, it was surprising. Like at first I saw it, and I'm like, oh man, it's not gonna do that much damage, right? But it came at me really fast, and it made a hell of a loud noise too. I was super pissed.
All right, fair enough. Shopping cart's a bitch. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, got it, Rick.
Thank you.
You know what? I remembered her name. My bitch calling is Claudia, the representative of Time Warner Cable, who I called yesterday at I think it was like 2:30 a.m. or something because my cable was acting like a bitch. And she was very kind. Everything was cool, except when she put me on hold. She didn't give me a hold music, which I would have preferred, but she kept on saying, "Hold on, hold on." Yeah, hold on one moment, please. Hold on. She kept saying it. And I kept, at first I was like, okay, these guys, I said it on my stream earlier, but these guys got my fucking social security number. I don't want to get pissed, right? So I'm just chilling, letting her say hold on over and over. Eventually I told her, listen, you can just tell me one time. I'm holding on, And she was like, she kind of toned it down for a little bit and started just giving me the hold on again. And, I'm thinking to myself, what is compelling this moron? And the funniest fucking part about this whole thing is before you get on the call with the person, they tell you, would you like to do a customer survey before the fucking call? So I'm already pissed off that I'm on the phone with Time Warner. So no, I don't want to do a survey. Fuck your survey. The service sucks. So I declined it. And then, of course, I want to do a survey after this shithead. Who the fuck trained her? Hold on over and over. She's not even saying, can you hang on a moment, please? Or just give me a second while I pull that up or something. You know, I had a fucking customer service job. You don't just say hold on. You don't just say hold on. Fuck you, Claudia. Fuck you.